Welcome, everyone, to the first Tea and Scones nightcap for the year. Uh, Blessings for a wonderful new year, and welcome to the first Tea and Scones for 2025. So, with that, we'll go ahead and get started. Ellis, would you do the invocation, please?
All beings, life forms, thought forms, entities, assemblages, technologies, beingnesses, awarenesses, and all else that exists that do not have our highest interest and or the highest interest of all life everywhere, and are not in the highest service to the one true and only living God of all creation, I am, in thought, form, mind, action, deed, word, and in all ways, and all artificial intelligences and artificial life forms and the technologies they use, smart dust, nanodust, black goo, graphenes, algorithms, operating systems, thought forms, and all other artificial life, and all else that is not created by the one true living God I am, we demand all to leave our minds, spirits, bodies, souls, and all that we are on all dimensions, densities, levels, and locations, now and forever, and never return. All permission to create or maintain attachments, influence from within or without in any way, to cohabitate or possess in part or in whole, to affect or defect in any way, to feed off our energies, our minds, spirits, bodies, souls, or anything that we are on any dimension, density, level, or location, or alter or change our thoughts, feelings, our mental, physical, emotional, or genetic structure in any way, or create any pain, discomfort, or put us into disharmony with the only God of all creation I am, is permanently and forever removed. All contracts, obligations, and agreements we have made that are not in our highest interest and are not in the highest interest of all life everywhere, and not in the highest service to the one true living God of all creation I am, we now declare null and void. All emptiness, holes, vacancies, rips, tears, or injuries from the invocation, contract negation, and removal of artificial intelligences are now to be filled with the divine light of the Holy Spirit, the word of the one true living God I am, and the healing and compassion of his only begotten Son, Jesus Christ. All protections and all of this invocation are asked for in the name and authority of the one true living God of all compassion, love, light, and creation I am, and his holy Son, Jesus Christ, and the Holy Spirit. As it is said, now it is done and is sealed now and for all time. Tetelestai.
Thank you very much, Ellis. Love to serve. Could you honor us with one of your beautiful prayers, please, for the new year and the first Tea and
Yes,
Scones?
a new year with new happenings. Thank you, Father God, the Holy Spirit, and Jesus Christ. We are glad to be here in this gathering with Paul inside the club and Jean for a nice cup of tea and scones. We are excited to get more information and knowledge in this powerful time we live in. We love to unite with you all people around the world, our deep divers, Blessed for Service family, inside the club, and people listening later. We love you all. The drip continue, and we love to get more amazing and powerful information about all happenings around the world. And we envision that all wars come to an end and that all humans and children get their freedom. Thank you, Father God, the Holy Spirit, and Jesus Christ for all protection, healing, love, and compassion. Thank you for guiding us and provide us with new information and to go deeper and search for more truth. Thank you for uniting us with all people around the world. All this gathering give us more strength, and we get stronger together and will serve and help each other more. Thank you. We love you all. Tetelestai. Thank you.
Beautiful, as always. Thank you. Love to serve. So, welcome, deep divers. Kevin Newman, Deborah Short, Molly Farlow. Thank for following all the years, Molly. Elisa Horta, Judy Taylor, Rachel Kirkwood, Ann Fawn, Cece. Thank you for all the support over the years. Kelly Gibbs, Susan Lynn, Sarah, Bradley Hall, Martine, Catherine Wiggins, Susan Rapp, Amy Wetland, and those here on the Zoom, First, I'd like to say greetings to the BFS, Ellis, and Love to Serve, and Sophie and Mabel running the live stream. Thank you so much. And Avery for all the proofing and reading. And of course, Sophie for the beautiful editing of everything. And she'll edit this episode. And then also here on the Zoom is Gina Robertson and Cece. Thank you for all the years of support, Cece. Dan, Martine's also here. As in the deep dives, Linda from Bleacher, Christine Parker, thank you for all the amazing donations, thick letters, and all kinds of materials from Christ and little wonderful things you send me. Sarah, Lila, David, and everyone else. And with that, hi, Paul. How are you? Happy New Year.
Hi, Gene. Happy New Year, and Happy New Year to everyone on your show today. Wow. What a new year it is as well. I am so excited about this year. I can just feel there's so much good to be done. I don't know about you. How are you doing? How's your new year starting?
Mine started rough. As you know, I had to emergency family situation 2 weeks ago. So I'm trying to lift up my chin and continue on. Things, life continues. So I'm rallying, and I'm here for everyone that's here in the deep dives and yourself, and to get out what's going on all over the world. There's so much change, and we're just 4 days away from Trump being sworn in, and I have an interview the day after that with Standing Tall, Matt from Down Under, and we'll talk about that. And I had an interview today with the Journey to Truth podcast with Tyler. His partner Aaron could not be there due to a death in the family. And so on that, I would like to remind people about the things that Mel Gibson said about the turbo cancers on Joe Rogan's show and what can help. I am doing, as we speak, I'm drinking my tea, and with ginseng tea with herbs, Chinese herbs that I put together, as well as some that were put together for me, and as well as my ivermectin tube is sitting here. I found it's quite amazing in my cleanse this Monday. I do a cleanser just a little bit short of every 4 weeks due to the shedding situation, and it's the very first cleanse. I was burning inside badly, and so this is the first time I've been doing ivermectin and then come off of it and do a liver, gallbladder, saltwater cleanse. And by the time I finish 2 quarts of salt water, I'm usually, when I have a movement, completely clean. And this time, when I shifted over to the Epsom salts, it stays clean. Usually this time it was black dirt like in Ukraine. So I know that's the ivermectin taking care of whatever was, from my remote viewing, I was starting to get the cancer stuff. Polyps and that stuff, and it broke it down into essentially dirt. So that stuff does work. It's what I do. I mean, I believe it works. I'm not a medical practitioner, although I studied years and years of Chinese medicine and natural medicine and herbs and all of these things, but I go with what works. And so I would personally, that's what I do, and I think it's a great idea, as does Mel Gibson. And he said the deep state's coming after him, and that's probably true. And then we have many other things going on in the world. So just to start heading into that right away, the Trump team has put out, I'll start their year with some humor for us on, I believe this is on X. As of today, the incoming Trump administration has hired over 1,000 people for the United States government. They are outstanding in every way, and you will see the fruits of their labor over the coming years. We will make America great again, and it will happen very quickly. And we already see things happening with the ceasefire or peace situation in the Middle East, so hopefully that holds. And then on with this. In order to save time, money, and effort, it would be helpful if you would not send or recommend to us people who are worked with or endorsed by Americans for No Prosperity, headed by Charles Koch. Dumb as a rock, John Bolton, Birdbrain Nikki Haley, Dumb as a Rock John Bolton, Mike Pence, Disloyal Warmongers, Dick Cheney and his psycho daughter, Liz, Mitt Romney, Paul Ryan, General Question Mark, Mark Milley, James Mattis, Mark Jesper, or any of the other people suffering from Trump derangement syndrome, commonly known as TDS. Thank you for your attention to this matter. Back to you, Paul.
Wow, where do we start on that? I mean, this is all common sense stuff now. He's literally going, look, yes, you might be able to offer up this guy and that guy and everything, but let me put this into perspective. I am not interested in anyone who helped the Biden administration with their madcap, woke, globalist, deep state agendas. And what I believe is he's got to unpick 4 years worth of this degenerate behavior, is what I describe it as. Because for years now, we have not been able to say what we wanted to say, as is our right to freedom of speech. And for once, I actually feel like freedom of speech is returning, even though I struggled to say that then. And those lunatics and Trump derangement syndrome is real. I've got a friend, and the moment I mention Trump, it's like a trigger for him. It's like he's been programmed by some psyop that's been going on for years, and he immediately snaps into aggression towards him. And when you sit down and ask them properly why, they can't give you a real why. Oh, wow, there's the hush money case where he paid off Stormy Daniels. Well, Stormy Daniels has released statements saying that wasn't the case. Oh, wow. And it's almost like their programming gets stuck. They have no idea why they're angry, but they're angry. And that post that Trump's done is just brilliant. It is just brilliant. And I want to just backtrack a minute, if that's okay with you, Gene, to the Hollywood situation that you brought up with Mel Gibson. And let's talk about what Trump has appointed. And he's created new roles for Hollywood liaisons. And if it's okay with you, I'm going to share the screen. So Donald Trump has appointed Mel Gibson, Sylvester Stallone, and John Voight as special envoys to Hollywood. And I find this has come at a very, very strange time when Hollywood has burned to the ground, literally burned to the ground. And now all of a sudden we have liaisons to Hollywood. I mean, has any administration done that before, where he's picked people almost like oversight to Hollywood? You need to be on your best behaviours. For starters, you've burned to the ground. And secondly, I'm putting people in place to watch you. And these people are ones that have spoken out quite heavily and not cared a bean about what the other side said. I mean, what are your thoughts on this, Gene? Because in my head, I feel Trump's already putting in the procedures to stop Hollywood being the dangerous paedophile elites that they were for decades.
Yes, I saw that post on X. Where's that news article? What?
This one's on Sky News.
Oh, Sky News. Yeah, that's a good one. Yes, it's not only that, it's not just 4 years of situation that Trump's clearing up. It's over 100 years that we've had the Internal Revenue Service and the Federal Reserve. Alice here has done an amazing decode that we just aired on that, and she's got more things coming up in her back pocket she's working on. So we are getting an external revenue service now. So this gentleman here on Ant Sync 369, let me play that for you all. You can read your screen here, January 20th, birth of revenue service external. For far too long, we have relied on taxing our great people using the Internal Revenue Service. Through soft and pathetically weak trade agreements, the American economy has delivered growth and prosperity to the world while taxing ourselves. So that's what actually caused a big part of the fall of the Roman Empire, by the way. It is time for that to change. I am today announcing that I will create the External Revenue Service to collect our tariffs, duties, and all revenue that come from foreign sources. We will begin charging those that make money off of us with trade, and they will start paying, finally, their fair share. January 20th, 2025 will be the birth date of the External Revenue Service. Make America Great Again. Let's see what the gentleman has to say. I think it's quite brilliant.
No more IRS, no more Internal Revenue Services. Donald just announced that on January 20th, 2025 will be the birth date of the External Revenue Service. What does that mean? He's going to, through tariffs, get enough money to come into the country where we as Americans no longer have to foot the bill, where we pay with our payroll taxes, and then they just give all the money away to other countries. It's the birth date. Do you understand that? No more internal. It's now called External Revenue Services. Very, very strong, and in my opinion, dangerous thing to say, just because we know the powers that be are not going to appreciate what's happening here with the IRS. And you're going to have to read through the lines to figure that one out. But this is great, super exciting. This is why we voted for this man. I'm going to do a video in Spanish too, so if you see that one, disregard it.
So there you go. That's exciting.
Yeah, I mean, if I'm okay to add on to this, Gene, think about this. The External Revenue Service. It's going to put tariffs on stuff imported. Okay, things coming in are going to get more expensive. But wait, what's the flip side of this? What? The USA could start producing its own things again? Wait, would that increase jobs? Yes. Oh my God. Is this not almost a solve all economic problem based solution? What's that? Your car industry's struggling. Well, let's raise the tariffs a little bit on importing cars so our car industry can stay afloat. And I think this is where the likes of China and all that are scared. And they are seriously scared of this because, I don't know about you, Gene, all I've seen in the UK is production and manufacturing collapse. And what happens when you make nothing, export nothing, your economy is nothing. And I just think this is brilliant what Trump's doing. And he's already started taking away, from what I'm hearing down the grapevine, the taxation on his workforce, his population, his everything. You know, he said straight away there's going to be no taxes on tips. I mean, that's just the tip of the iceberg. But one thing we do know, and people need to understand, this isn't a tomorrow solution. This will take time because you can't just go, right, abolish all taxes, because the system will just become heavily imbalanced. It's got to be done in a way that's weighted, and things need to be moved along slowly. That is my understanding of it. If I'm wrong, Gene, please correct me.
Yeah, it won't take as long as it took to do to the U.S. It's shipping out all our industry, just like in your country, you had a strong industry, Germany, all of it, all of this deindustrialization of the massive producing abilities of Europe, Germany, France, the UK, the United States, etc., and shipping it to countries where people are paid pennies. It actually impoverishes the people of those countries using their resources to build materials for us that ship it to us, and they don't really see the benefit of that. So if they get to use and build their own industries, like what the BRICS nations do for each other, where they build up the countries so they can use their own resources, have their own industry, and we bring our industry home this way through the tariffs, then companies that have left will come back because it's cheaper to make it in the United States, made in America again, making America great again, or making the UK great again, all of these things. And, you know, you mentioned China. They had the largest surplus any country, I think, has ever seen. They had a $1 trillion surplus shown, trade surplus, in 2024. That is massive. So imagine if each country, the big power countries like the US, UK, were to start showing that kind of surplus, the debts we have would go away, the American economy would come back, the middle class would be able to come back. Like, people have a lot of trouble getting enough. I lost some people on deep dives because it just, even at $7, can't afford it, and I'm struggling too, because I don't sell stuff. That's all that I make. I'm retired, but Trump has said, which is going to help me a lot, he's going to stop taxation on the Social Security. That would be awesome. I hope he stops it on military retirement account as well. But that'll really help me, So, and get rid of the IRS and go to the ERS and get rid of internal taxation and payroll tax and all of this, because it's unconstitutional. When they supposedly passed the 16th Amendment and it was supposed to be temporary to fund the war, and it was never supposed to go over 8%, and your percentage is far beyond ours. It's incredibly high. I was stunned when I found out what the taxation in the UK is. But ours, by the time that you pay all the other taxes and things that people don't really look at taxes, but actually are, that are tucked into your pretty much everything you buy, you're actually in this country paying over 87%. Imagine having 87% of your income back in your pocket. This country would soar, as would your country. You're even higher than that. This is how it's supposed to be, not bringing everybody down to the peon level with the oligarchs ruling the world and bringing the population down to their Georgia Guidestones destination that they had in mind, way back when. And so that's part of what's, they're doing with the jab before. And, there's news I've seen on that about what's the population of the world will do between now and the end of the year. It's pretty stunning. That's why I recommended what I did at the beginning when we started. Without those protocols, from what I see in military documents I've seen showing what the world population, the U.S. is even worse than the majority of the world, because most people went and got something slammed into their arm. They had no idea what it was. I had researched in the patents and all that and did know what it was, so I didn't do that. But, the shedding is bad from that, so I have to deal with that. So, we see all of that going on as well. So back to you, Paul.
I'm glad you brought that up, Gene, actually, because the one thing that is now happening is the exposure on the jib jabs being shoved into people's arms, the depopulation agenda. And one thing we do know, they can't hide this sort of thing for long, because there are too many people out there that want to do good for the world. And I can even say my family now are waking up. My dad and my brother both accept now that my mum died from those vaccines. They accept it now. And my dad said to me randomly, he went, "Paul, I believe they killed mum." The problem that they're so sneaky though, because the way these take people out is natural causes straight away, because the coroner, the doctor, they're not going to sit there under a microscope and go through every, blood cell that you've got to go, ha, it's that thing there. With my mum, using her as an example, I wasn't going to cut my mum's head open to find out how she died. There was no way I was doing that. But this exposure now is coming, and they can't stop it. This is a tsunami of exposure as well. Trumping is just the first step of many for some justice to really be done in this world. And I'm so excited, I can't tell you. And I know there's still a lot of bad going on, but my God, the good that is about to come. And I truly believe Trump wants to leave a legacy of the only president that achieves peace, day one almost, is what he said, and to right the wrongs of this world. That's what he wants to do. And I am so excited. And everyone out there who has been on this journey, well, Eugene, especially 20 years, if not longer,
over 30 years.
over 30 years, you've been on this journey for even longer. Can I ask you one question? Do you finally see that we are crossing a precipice to the side where it's all green, lush, sunny, you name it. What are your thoughts, Gene?
Oh, yes. When I first started this and tried to wake people up, it was rare that I hit one person that had a clue of anything I was talking about. Now, it's almost I don't hit somebody that doesn't know anything at all. Most people know something about something. So, especially with the this term coming up, and we look at the appointment of RFK, and here's on X, Jackster42, breaking Supreme Court ruling hardly anyone noticed that Robert F. Kennedy Jr. won the case against all odds, against all the pharmaceutical lobbyists. In the ruling, the Supreme Court confirms that the damage caused by the mRNA gene therapy is irreparable. As the Supreme Court is the highest court in the United States, there are no further appeals, and the appeals have been exhausted. Nurem Code is now valid. Well done. This is, I guess, posted from TikTok originally, from Drake Taylor, whatever that says there. So this is the truth coming out. It's wonderful. And he's talking about the Department of Justice will unleash the RICO Act to expose collusion between medical boards, journals, big pharma, same collusion that fired good doctors and attacked doctors like the American frontline doctors like Dr. Penny and Dr. Northrup and Dr. Merritt and all these people that had alternative treatments for medical tyrants. They are panicking now because accountability is coming. So that is part of the green pastures you're talking about. And I told people about this stuff way back when, the story of what I found out about the slamming stuff in your arm. I found out about that way back then, and I have been saying about that stuff ever since then. And, I didn't find up until the Q boards and all of that stuff, anyone that seemed to know anything. So that was a massive information dump, and it woke a lot of people up, and then by word of mouth and all kinds of other ways, it's now spread out. So, that's why you have the situation in the social media where they're trying to ban all kinds of things like TikTok and all this because they've lost, as Davos said, at the last Davos meeting, they said they've lost control of the narrative where people like Tucker Carlson have twice the viewership essentially of CNN, and they can't even sell MSNBC because nobody cares. They can't sell CNN either. So they're worthless because people realize there's nothing but projection and lies on there. So, although the social media has been infiltrated and you got to sort through it, there's a lot of truth in that. And Biden was talking about that today. Smokey Joe was saying about, we have to get a control on this and AI and all this stuff because people are exposed to all these lies. Oh, like yours? Like all your stuff? In Blinken, everything we did in Ukraine was excellent. We didn't make any mistakes, and we won that. So apparently, your view of winning is getting your pants knocked off and getting knocked out in the ring till you're bloody all over the place. It's like knocked out of the ring completely, unconscious. That's your idea of winning, because that's what we're looking at, and this is how they do it, and they've lost control of the narrative. And I also look at a lot of new technologies are coming. So wanted to share something that someone sent to me on that collective evolution here. Scientists aim to teleport an entire human. The new quantum tech can make it possible. So portals from and to planets and other things, it's through quantum entanglement. So over the years, scientists have successfully teleported particles across vast distances in controlled laboratories to open air and even into space. And people can read the rest of this for themselves, but this technology has actually been in use since the 50s at the very, that's being conservative, let's put it that way. So there's a lot of fantastic and amazing things coming, let alone free energy, 0 point energy, all of these kind of things. Instant communication without signals, 5G, 4G, any kind of G, anything. All that's necessary is quantum entanglement. I went into that years ago on a Decode I did. So, yeah, I agree, Paul. Lots of green pastures to be coming and looking at. Back to you.
Oh, brilliant, Gene. And I just want to touch back on something you said earlier, and also on it's not just COVID exposure that's coming. Mel Gibson went on Joe Rogan's podcast, and bearing in mind he's on Spotify, so there are higher ups he has to report to. Mel Gibson turned around and said he knows 4 people who had stage 4 cancer who used ivermectin and I can never pronounce this, fenbenzanol, and they're in total remission now. Total remission. No chemo, no pharmaceutical crap, shall I say, that they've pumped into their body. Now, if we were a year ago, there is no way that Mel Gibson interview would have gone out on air. The time for people to speak up and not be scared anymore is now. It's completely now, because I'm sorry, but the truth needs to come out. And the reason why those medications are never talked about in public, because the pharmaceutical companies can't monetize them enough. You know, hooking you up to a bag of chemo poison makes them lots of money. You know, treatment makes more money than cure. So that's always something worth, you know, thinking about when you pick your treatments. And I'm sorry, but those doctors are lent on by the pharmaceutical industry. That's all I can say on that one. I'm going to jump in with my next story, Gene. I hope you don't mind here. We've got to talk about this because I have a basic understanding of the Constitution, but I would like to discuss this because a Georgia senator has been stopped from doing his constitutional job, and the senator in the picture is Colton Moore, and there is a video which I haven't got at the moment of him being stopped and arrested and frog marched out. Can you just enlighten me here, Gene, on this? Because is this not exposing violations of the Constitution?
On that one, I exercise what I call the 48-hour rule. Wait and see what the true story is. I got sent something of 8 Ukraine oligarchs that had homes that burned down in the Palisades, and that seems to be turned out to be fake. Or sometimes we get news that's not what is represented. So I'm going to wait on this one to make sure I know what it actually is before I speak about it. So what I wanted to go into, and you had mentioned it, Paul, is what is happening in Palisades and in LA and California and a lot of that. So I've pulled up a grunge of stuff on that. So with your permission, I'd like to go ahead and go into this.
Of course, Gene, I can't say no to you.
Okay, thank you, Paul. So this is Ally Carter. Many people may remember her on Stu Peter. She said that Barry Soetoro, otherwise known as a president of the United States not born in the country, I'll just say it that way. I think everybody knows who I mean. This is on X, I believe, J.B. Connolly, Brad Connolly. This is Ally Carter in the meantime, and I'll just let her speak for herself here.
Everybody's like, we're ready, we're ready, we're ready. We're ready until it's happening. And then everybody's like, well, I wasn't ready. Yeah. There's gonna be a lot of that. There's no other way to get ready. There's no other way to prepare. There's no protocol for what's about to happen. The world is going to crumble when they see this next arrest. In the meantime, there's going to be deaths, distractions, and fires to hide evidence. Watch for it, ask questions, demand answers. You know who's on those flight logs. You do. You know who should be arrested. You all do. You know that laptop from hell is real. You know that the black book is real. You know Ghislaine Maxwell's customers are who everybody is watching in the everyday news, including those who you drop your kids off with every day, your schools, your doctors. Everybody is like, we're ready, we're ready, we're ready.
Okay, so with that, I'd like to go to the next item right away. And this is Shadow of Ezra. During the California fires, firefighters were overheard in a heated debate about the Getty Villa Museum. And I want you to pay attention to the background noise that you hear towards the end of this. You can make it out if you listen carefully. They're being countermanded to what this other gentleman firefighters are saying.
The triage of that structure, it's a high priority for that historic building.
I cannot prioritize it that way. There are multiple homes here between PCH and Temescal. My line is to Sunset. I have the high school well involved, along with a number of homes between this can. I'm not sure why that's a priority or not versus these homes. Can you explain it?
Our taxes are going to pay for it, you little bitch.
So there you go. And you can see that it was originally TikTok video. You see why they don't want TikTok, because you get information, crash out camps. So onwards we go. Insurance companies that repealed fire insurance just prior. Sounds familiar. I think we've heard this story before. So State Farm, Allstate, USAA, Farmers, Travelers, Nationwide, Chubb, Hartford, Tokyo, Marine, AIG. It's a long list. Then on to the next item here. And this is Ariel from X. To very well explained here how this works. First wave, fire insurance removal, like I just read. Second wave, directed energy weapons, and I'll show the evidence of that. It's quite obvious. Just same as we saw with blue things in Lahaina and Paradise and these other things. Third, arsonists, and that's to cover the tracks of this, so it makes it look like it's normal. Fourth wave, desolation. Fifth wave, restoration. And then what kind of restoration are you talking about? And of course, the water supply, amazingly enough, no water, always the case, isn't it? Then on we go. So who are the celebrities, some of these big celebrities in Calabasas in that area? So here we go. Kim Kardashian with homes in these areas. Drake, Britney Spears, Will Smith, Jessica Simpson, John Travolta, Justin Bieber, Travis Barker, and others. So I find that somewhat revealing as well. And then look at this house. It's on fire inside prior to it's on fire outside. That's what directed energy weapons do, as well as this video I'm going to click through. This is Brush Junkie. Look at the vehicle. I have seen a vehicle burn on the H1 highway in Hawaii. I stopped and it was burning. I couldn't get within 30 feet of the heat of it was so massive, and it was charring things 80 feet off the road up on the side of the hill. It was dry like this, and things were just getting charred and igniting. Why isn't that the case here? It's so hot, it's melting everything. The engine block, everything is melted. It's not gone to jump over here at all. How interesting. Liquid metal turned things into liquid, melted the metals. So that is bizarre. So I highly recommend people watch this whole thing, and they go into all kinds of things like, again, the same thing we saw in Lahaina, twisted girders, steel I-beams. Go look up the temperatures that takes. That is incredibly bizarre and high. They found these kind of things where you have trees and all kinds of things that are unburned and other things that are just charred. This one is a container, and it's oxidized, like it's been sitting out for years. And then you have all kinds of things just melted. And then you have plastic things that aren't touched, like you can put plastic in a microwave, giving you an idea of what was used to do this, and they don't burn. And so, again, more and more of these kind of things with trees out in front. And then we have this. Smart meter, hello. The house is fine, but what happened? Well, what does a smart meter do? Communicate with the power company by what? 5G pulses, and it receives information back. And when you overwhelm something that's receiving it with way more powerful input signals, that's what you get. I've seen it on submarines where we got a signal so high it fried the radar system. So that's exactly what you have. And that's why I personally, our home, we opted out. And you can see it fried this thing, but plastic little box up here and plastic coax cable. No, that's fine. Even plastic coverings down here, that's fine too. So then you have these fire NATOs, which used to be very rare. And you have a lot of vegetation that is glowing like it's wires. And then we have the umbrella thing again. These are green, but green is a dye. It's composed of blue and yellow. So it has blue in it. So there you go again. And then we have more bizarre situations. This is a kind of a overhead look I showed there. We have this one right here. I'll see if I can get there. So this scar was obviously sitting there when the fire was there because power lines down over the hood. And the plastic fencing is fine, but the houses on both sides are gone. And the blue car, of course, is fine too. And the vegetation here is fine too. And so that's a key signature of, and this is absolute proof. Look at the pattern of the heat, like 3 feet, 1 meter out from this vehicle that is just, all the paint has been, it's down to the metal. And then there's a blue container, a trash container, up against the back of the vehicle inside the burn radius. So if that's not proof, the 666 terahertz signal for the DEW weapon is, this color is oblivious to it, doesn't see it at all. And you can see it again. This one is touching a metal fence that's getting hit by that DEW, that microwave weapon, the maser it's called. And so it is melted, but this one down over here is fine. So, this is a wonderful thing to go look at this presentation they did. It's very excellent, and they explain it, as you can see, as you go through. Look at this vehicle. The engine block is completely just gone. And trees are standing, and green hedges. Yeah, that's not bizarre. That's not bizarre at all, is it?
The blue vending machine is still okay.
Yeah, the vending machine is just fine because it's blue, So there we go with that one. Moving on, I wanted to go to, I highly recommend everybody follow TPV Sean. There's a website. They do a really excellent job. They have many, 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 many wonderful items. We've covered some before. This is a post he put on X. Wildfire investigators uncover vast network. And I said this was coming. My wife asked me about this. And I said, when they clear the wreckage, you're going to see tunnels connect from the Playboy Mansion, P. Diddy, all to these homes that burned and all over and going under LA, down deeper into the underground alien, non-terrestrial, reptilian base that I talked about on Linda Paris years ago. So breaking news shakes the glitz and glamour of Hollywood to its core. Wildfire investigators have uncovered a vast, let me say that again, a vast subterranean tunnel network beneath Los Angeles. This labyrinth of hidden passages allegedly tied to a sinister child trafficking operation has been linked to some of Hollywood's most exclusive neighborhoods. According to investigators, these tunnels connect A-list celebrity mansions to a main artery stretching through Hollywood and Pacific Palisades. Even more disturbing, branches of this network reportedly held dozens of children, some rescued alive, thank you God, others tragically not. So, and then here we go with this. Here's CEMEX. We know all about CEMEX and the child trafficking network. Child trafficking tunnels under LA. CEMEX was deep into this. So the California wildfires also just so bizarrely coincidence lined up to the high-speed rail system they want to put in smart cities for the 2028 Olympics in California. There it is. If that's not a footprint of it, what is? I mean, look at that. It's exactly it. I mean, how bizarre is this? So, that is, as you can see, Icons International Community. This has been posted on X. So back to you, Paul.
I guess the big question you got to raise there then, Gene, is did the good guys do it or did the bad guys do it? Because there's two things there. The Hollywood tunnels, where all the children were, they've been exposed. But then everything's burnt down where this lovely new high-speed rail network needs to go. I'm indifferent now as to whether it was a good guy operation or a bad guy operation.
It's a combination of both, Paul. The F-51 sent a wave of various things. I can't cover the details; it's too vast. That hit that area, and it was to originally the deep state is trying to burn out the evidence, and that's been reported on already. But if you notice those homes and go to Brush Junkies and other platforms, a lot of them don't have any cars. They got hit suddenly before they knew to leave. Where are the vehicles? Where are the people? Some of them you can see are a collection of classic cars where these very wealthy Hollywood stars collected these collectibles that are worth quite a bit. They have a lot of money. A $30 million mansion is nothing for them to replace. However, it's also, you cannot replace those classic cars, but they could have easily hired drivers. Why didn't they? They were there. Where were they? Where were all the other ones? Can we possibly say Gitmo? Or maybe they're not on Earth anymore. Maybe they aren't alive anymore. Just possibilities I'm putting out there. So it is just really interesting what's going on now and what's being uncovered. And then, it's cleaning this out. So I feel it's kind of hand in hand that those lands, because they're involved in child trafficking, and those people have been wearing the boot a long time ago, the tracking boot, then they've been escorted out, and those lands have been seized as per Trump's executive order. If you're involved in that, that's what happens to your properties. And so in this case, they already have all the information. It's already long gone before they burned this down. And maybe like Tyler said today, we'll see something like Elon Musk is talking. He can, and Lockheed Martin has been doing this with craft that go into space where they can grow crystalline organic living ships. You can also grow crystal organic living homes. You can talk to your home and have it. It's cold in here. Turn up the heat. It's hot. Bring it cooler. I need it. It's a little dry, a little more humidity, please. So smart homes in a different way. They're actually sentient and aware and living beings. They already have this technology. They've had it for about 10 years. So this is ongoing things and changes in the world. That's the good guys. Of course, the bad guys and the death toll and the single family homes that they've changed the zoning on, so they want to build these 15-minute cities. That's the good guys did the one thing the bad guys always never let a catastrophe go to waste, and they took advantage of it because both sides have infiltration. Pretty much every group that's over 50 has infiltration, and so this is what we see now is a combination of both. Back to you, Paul.
Brilliant. I've just realised the time's flown by today, Gene. So I'm going to jump straight into my biggest story of the day, because this one is my biggest worry. As we know, Keir Starmer, our Prime Minister, who I don't know who elected him. I'm still yet to find anybody who was happy to elect him. Went to Kiev, went to Ukraine. He signed a 100-year pact with Ukraine to rebuild Ukraine. So the British people are going to have to borrow money from God knows where to pump into Ukraine to rebuild it. The other thing that worries me significantly with this, and as we scroll down, I believe it's in here, that we are going to send British troops in as a peacekeeping force. Now, my biggest worry of this is, yes, once peace comes, then we need people in there to keep the peace, etc. But I severely feel worried that if Ukraine gets hit by a random Russian bomb, and guess what? The UK troops were there and they got hit, there's World War III in a nutshell, because it would drag in the entirety of NATO. And I don't even understand why we're getting involved in this country that is so far away from us. Most people, do you know, 70% of people in the UK don't even know where Ukraine is? That tells you everything. Why are we committing so heavily to this country? I do not know. But what I do know is Starmer is one of the biggest Davos puppets you can imagine. He loves the WEF. And in his own words, we can do business with the WEF. And that blows me away and worries me beyond belief. And the UK now, I can finally see we are probably the most corrupt country on the planet. I do truly believe that now. Gene, what are your thoughts on this?
I don't agree. I think we're most corrupt, but next to Ukraine. And because of that, and even Ukrainian news officials are now reporting that once this is done, and I don't think, like the Russians, Lavrov and many of their generals have stated, there won't be a Ukraine war by the end of this year. There won't be much of a Ukraine either. The Russian military has taken 15 settlements in the last week, and the ATACMS are running out, the Storm Shadows and the Scouts are running out. Nothing is hitting anything except some debris from them, and it's not doing much damage even in that either. It's why they haven't done a Reshnik again, because it's not necessary. On top of that, the F-16s are like a World War I plane trying to fight an F-16. An F-16 fighting an Su-25 or something even more advanced, the F-16 doesn't even know it's there and targeted them and launched long-range missiles, and it's outside the range of the radar and the missiles of the F-16. And so they also hit a huge base in the edge of Poland, in Ukraine, in Lviv area, and just decimated it where the F-16s are kept. So there's a lot of pilots that had got training, and a lot of the F-16s, most of those are gone now. Literally, the morale is so bad in the Ukrainian military. A lot of the settlements, they've taken now some of the last armored cities, fortified massive armored cities, because the Ukrainian military now are mostly conscripted people that have 3 days of training, and they just run away or lay down their arms and throw down their arms and run, or just run into the arms of the Russians. And I think that's a fantastically good thing, because they're not dying needlessly. Like Trump said, let's stop the killing and the dying. So I'm all for stopping the dying and the killing. And I feel this cannot make it to the end of the year. It's why the money laundering of the Biden regime continues as fast as they can go every day, down to the wire. And then they're trying to say, with the peace treaty or the ceasefire in the Middle East, that they accomplished that. And everybody, even the Israeli news, is saying that it was due to Trump. So lots of things are changing. And I wanted to go into briefly, before we're done here, that a lot of people are saying Trump's bringing about the New World Order. He's with that. You don't arm your people if that's what you're going to do. You don't. This is, again, Ariel. Texas Senator John Cornyn has introduced a bill to allow concealed carry license holders to carry their guns in all 50 states. But you have people out there trying to convince you that Trump is trying to establish a New World Order. Then why would you arm them for it? That's exactly correct. And then, of course, we have a lot of breaking news and stuff, but all other things. But I'll let you go back. I saw your hand come up. Go ahead, Paul.
Yeah. Gene, I'm just going to ask this question from Bentel in your chat. I want to ask Gene if the war will be over once Poland falls.
I do not think Poland's actually going to fall, or any other EU country, in the near term. Their governments are being changed over. You could see it. There were so many demonstrations in Romania about the situation with the vote that they established a time for the vote, said the guy that won the first time, they're not going to let him run. Some more demonstrations. And that's happening in many, many countries. And already quite a few countries in the EU have changed leadership, and good leadership, like, Hungary and Slovakia and all of these. So we also have this announcement, and this is kind of hilarious anyway. This is one bad dude on X.
I told my kids about the decision that I'm sharing with you today. I intend to resign as party leader, as prime minister, after the party selects its next leader through a robust, nationwide, competitive process. Last night over dinner.
So, yeah, we're playing a violin. We're so sorry to hear that.
Yeah. Good riddance comes to mind. Yeah. Good riddance comes to mind on that one. And
yeah, absolutely.
yeah. And let's not forget, Trump has talked about Canada becoming the 51st state. And that's something not to turn your nose up at. And I don't know about you, Gene, but I can see this world right here, right now, moving into an expansionist time. You've got Russia stretching out. You're going to have China stretching out to Taiwan if the USA doesn't close down these other proxy wars and then refocus its efforts onto Taiwan. You've got Israel stretching out, trying to claim new land. And I do wonder, and I sit here thinking, well, actually, what I'm really hoping is maybe the US will come and make us a state, because what's going on with our leadership is an embarrassment right now. But you've got to ask yourself, are we eventually going to move into, I don't know, maybe 3 super nations that literally control all other countries? They won't even be countries, they'll be states of these super nations.
No,
And
I actually do not think that's true. I think we'll be having a multipolar world. The U.S. may be a bit bigger, but it would take referendums in Canada by province. Same with Greenland. They want autonomy and freedom and be their own country, not part of the U.S. They've been the trafficking and satanic stuff from the country that owns them is off the chart. And then there's technology in Greenland underneath the ice and the ground there that is extremely advanced, more than anywhere else I know on Earth. So, and it's tied to the Northern Territories in Canada. That's why it's the art of the deal. You go extremely high, and then you allow the other people to bargain you down. And then when you do come down, you're actually above what you wanted in the first place. So it's a win for you, and they feel like they won too. So it's a win-win where people go, "Yay, we won!" And you go, "Yeah, so did I." So you go high. I always did this when bidding for jobs when I used to do construction, because a lot of people are really cheap and they don't even want to pay you minimum wage. So I would give an estimate for the job, and way high, and they would bargain me down to about where I wanted to be in the first place. That was fair to me, and actually what should have been what they would have wanted in the first place if they weren't like very cheap people and wanting to get something for nothing. So I did have good clients as well that automatically, once they saw the quality of my work, always paid me what I deserved. I didn't even have to do estimates. They just said, do the work and submit the bill to us. We're fine, once they got to know me. But this is what Trump is known for, is the art of the deal. He's a businessman. He's a billionaire businessman. He knows very well how to do this. So I don't think we're going to see 3 huge superpowers ruling the world. Essentially, that's George Orwell's 1984. If you've read it, that's exactly how it's played out. And that is, a game plan of the deep state. And I don't think that's where we're going to go. Sorry to interrupt you, Paul. Go ahead.
No, that's absolutely fine, Gene. I think we needed to talk about it because that's what it looks like right now. And from my understanding, Russia had no intention of taking Ukraine. They had no intention. And it's only because of what NATO was up to that they had to do this. And also exposing the biolabs and all the other horrible things that went on there. And for those out there who don't know, Russia actually released all the photo evidence of the documentation and everything to do with these biolabs, where the pharmaceutical industries of the world were experimenting on Ukraine's population. Just let that sink in for a minute. These people who have no idea what's going on were getting paid, I think it was something like £20, £30 to have drugs tested on them. Did they really know what was being tested on them? No. Will we ever find the bodies? Probably not. But it's just something that we need to understand, that Ukraine was so much bigger than you could possibly imagine in all of this and what was going on. And luckily, as Bentil just said, we are all being experimented on, Paul. We are being experimented on constantly, and it's scary. But, you know, if you're awake, you're a person who's not afraid to actually say your mind and not be beaten down by the system. You can do a bit of good in this world. One last thing I've got to ask you, Gene. Why is Big Mike, aka Michelle Obama, skipping the inauguration?
Yeah, I think there's something going down between the two of them. I think it may be a separation or a breakup coming. Also, many recent events, Barry shows up and Big Mike is not there. So there may be a disenfranchisement with each other, so to speak. And I totally agree with you on Ukraine. And Russia has found many graves, mass graves of people, and a lot of mass graves of children, of just like, you know, what they were saying at the end of the World War II, they found in Germany, where there was just people piled, backhoed and piled into it and then covered up. And so this is other material that Russia has, along with the China biolabs and all the Chinas in Ukraine, along with the technologies and other things in Ukraine. There's so much that's coming out that the Russians have gotten all of this. They never wanted to take the whole thing. They don't want the whole thing. They just wanted the Russian-speaking areas, which, by the way, does include Odessa, which would mean that whatever rump state is left of Ukraine, if that were to happen, they don't have a seaport anymore. So that would completely change not only that, but, you know, there's not much left of the population of Ukraine. What's left, most of the men are pretty much incapacitated, and, you know, most limbs and all kinds of things missing. So it's going to be bring back the Ukrainians from all over the world that left beforehand to rebuild that place, because there's no people there left to rebuild their economy. They don't really have a economy, any economy right now, other than a wartime economy, which is 40% or more of your economy. They say Russia has that, but it's only 6% of their economy. They have a better standard of living. The head of the EU just talked about that, Mark Rutte, today, I believe, and he was saying how they out-manufactured the entire world in 4 months than all of the West and the United States and the UK and all of that. And their economy is higher because it's a wartime economy. No, it's not. It's only 6%. But Ukraine, which has hardly any economy, it's all war. It's just making drones. That's pretty much like Zelensky said. Hey, make a lot of drones. The rest of what he said is, you know, probably due to some powdery substance he likes to imbibe on. So most of what he says is not recently is that way. So like the news people are saying, they're going to wind up, all of those people running Ukraine at this time, that's gone too. They're going to there is no place I feel that they'll be safe. I don't care if they go to dumps in the US or in Australia or wherever, because there's people infiltrated into everything. And they're going to wind up like Mussolini. That's pretty much what the Ukrainian people are saying. The newscasters are even starting to speak out now, because the end is coming and they know it and they see it. So back to you, Paul. Thank you.
Lovely. Well, Gene, we're at the end of the hour. It's
We're
gone.
actually 4 minutes over it.
Yeah, it's been absolutely fantastic to catch up with you again and all the wonderful people on your show, because honestly, there's so much love and light in this show that I just love doing it. I just love being here and having a wonderful time with you all.
Oh, you're also chipper and upper all the time. You're the opposite of Pierce Starmer, the most boring politician in the history of the world. You're always upper and up, perky and all that. So we enjoy having you here too, Paul.
Oh, fantastic. Well, I'd love to say see you all later, everybody. Have a wonderful day, weekend, and until the next time.
Yeah, thank you. And Sophie, would you close us in a short and quick prayer, please?
Yes. Father God, oh eternal one, thank you so much for everything that you do for us. Thank you for all of the events that are happening in 2025. Thank you for the green grass that we are seeing that we talked about earlier. We ask for your protection, for your grace on everyone here. And we thank you most of all for sending us your beloved Son, Jesus, the Christ of God, the one that is showing us the way to be, to escape, to return to you, to turn away from the fallen world and come close to you. We thank you, Father God, and we love you, we honor you, and we praise you. Teteleste.
Beautiful. Thank you, Sophie. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Paul. God bless and Happy New Year.
See you later, everyone.